The Constitution isn't that long of a document, but we have a lot of debate over what it does and does not mean, and so we ultimately need a Supreme Court to be able to decide definitively what it does and doesn't mean. How much more then does the Bible need something like that? Hi, my name is Mike Antonacci, and I'm here to help you become the hero God is calling you to be. The thing I just said at the beginning, I got from a book called Under the Mercy, and the author is, at this point, Anglican, and he's considering, should I become Catholic or not? So one of the things that really helped him decide was the issue of authority and interpretation. The author is American, and so he was reflecting on that, yeah, we do need a Supreme Court, and that without a Supreme Court, the Constitution, though short, could be interpreted in vastly different ways. And the Bible throughout its history has been interpreted in vastly different ways, and you need some sort of definitive group to say, this does mean this thing, this doesn't mean this thing. I'm going to draw out three particular parallels. The first one is that there are scenarios that the Founding Fathers didn't think of when they wrote the Constitution that now apply. So though the Constitution doesn't directly apply to them, there are principles within it and within the whole body of law and the legal system that do apply. So similarly, there are things that the Bible, like in Jesus' time, didn't exist, but now do exist. And so we need some sort of teaching on that to apply those principles that were already there to a new situation. Second parallel is that the Supreme Court doesn't usually pronounce on something until there's been a controversy or a challenge on it. They're not just going to go declaring things about the Constitution or about law right away. They do it when they need to. Similarly, the authority of the church does not declare some sort of doctrine until there's been a challenge. So they're not really like, just shooting off their mouth about, here's this thing. It's, well, now we see there's a need for this proclamation. We see some sort of confusion. We have to clarify it. Let's go do that right now. The third, and I think the most important parallel, is that the Supreme Court does not see itself as superior to the Constitution, but rather more as the guardian of it to make sure that it's being interpreted correctly. Similarly, the church does not see itself as superior to the Bible, but its guardian, guarding this deposit of faith so that way it's transmitted successfully and not in any sort of distorted way. Now, one difference between the authority of the church and the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court can overturn its rulings and it can be wrong, whereas as Catholics we believe that the Holy Spirit is preventing the church from being wrong on issues of faith or morals. No, it's just those things. It's not like that the conduct of all of its members is going to be perfect, but that the Holy Spirit will prevent the church from teaching error on faith and morals. Another great analogy is from a Bishop Barron video. He said that any sports game needs a referee or an umpire because the game has rules, but someone has to make the call, was this in or out, was this fair or foul, etc. The game isn't about them, but without them you cannot play the game. So that's sort of the view that I want to propose to you about the teaching authority of the Catholic Church, or if you want to use the fancy term, magisterium, which is Latin for teaching authority. This view of it's the guardian of the deposit of faith, that it's there to make sure we're getting it preserved correctly and not just subjecting it to our own interpretations or the popular interpretations of the age, because each era is going to have its own sins that it thinks are more fun or whatever. So this might be a challenge. This might be something you've never thought about. This might be something you actively reject. Wherever you are, think about it, take it to prayer, etc. And don't forget, be a hero today.